Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another Glacial Geek Kill Team Battle Report. I am Phil, the Glacial Geek, coming to you here from Savannah Line Games in Pooler, Georgia, where I will be fighting a 125-point battle, kill team battle between my Grey Knights and Skylar's Death Guard. So the story that we've got going on here is that the Grey Knights were fighting on this planet that had found itself under assault from a plague demon, demonic incursion with the plague Nurgle demons. That's the word I'm looking for. Nurgle demons that infested this planet, and they were fighting back against them, clearing out the infestation that had occurred on this planet. When word came in from an Inquisitor that this planet that they were fighting over had actually been an Imperial research facility that had been working on some experimental weapons on this planet. And he wanted the Grey Knights, while they were on this planet, to go secure those weapons before they could fall into the hands of the forces of the Dark Gods. So they went and followed the directions to the location where these experimental weapons were being held. And when they arrived there, they found a force of the Death Guard Traitor Marines here, working their way to try to collect the weapons themselves. So now suddenly the fight became not just clearing an infestation of Nurgle demons, but also in trying to keep these experimental weapons out of the hands of the Dark Gods. So that's the story that we've got going on. We are going to be playing the experimental weapons match play mission. This is from the Dolorous Strain kill team box. So it should be pretty interesting. Essentially what it is at the beginning of the game, we elect one model on our team, and we choose one of the weapons on that model to be wielding an experimental weapon. What we do is we roll a D3, and based upon those results, we get a certain special ability to that weapon. So, for instance, I chose my Terminator here and gave him his silencer, the experimental weapon. We rolled on it. I rolled a 1, which gives me add 1 to the type. So it is a heavy 6. So now it became heavy 7, which is pretty good. 7 shots with the silencer, not bad. I'll take that. My opponent put it onto his leader over here. He put it onto his Bale sword, and he rolled a 3, which gives him +1 strength to the weapon. So now he will be strength 5, essentially, in combat with this weapon, which is pretty awesome. It's actually plus strength D3, but he rolled a 1, so +1 strength. It's all good. It's still pretty good. Turns from wounding me on 4s to wounding me on 3s, which is always a nice little jump that you get there. So that's the weapons there. And essentially the way it works out here is that we'll just be playing the normal amount of rounds, and you score a point for every model that is taken out with the experimental weapon. And you get a point for everyone that does that. So there's one little catch with these experimental weapons. If you roll a 1 to hit, it's just like rolling a 1 to hit with the like a supercharged plasma. If you roll a 1 to hit, the model is slain and removed from action. And when they do so, they drop a token, basically a relic of the experimental weapon, that another model from your kill team can go over and pick up, and they will roll and they will get the experimental weapon that they will be wielding then. But again, they can then blow themselves up if they will roll a 1 to hit with it. So it should be interesting. Hopefully it'll be a lot of people dying from all of these weapons. It should be a good time. So that is going to be the story. That is the mission. Before we go any further, though, let's show you the 2 kill teams that are going to be fighting it out today. So for the Grey Knights, my kill team will consist of, from left to right, a Justicar as my leader with a Force Halberd. We have a Heavy Specialist, which is a Terminator with a Force Sword and a Silencer. We have a Combat Specialist, who is a Grey Knight with a Force Halberd. And we have a Demolitions Expert with a Silencer as well. And last but not least, we have a second Grey Knight Gunner with a Psy Cannon. And for the Death Guard, from left to right, we have his leader, who is a Blight Lord Champion with a Bale Sword and a Combi Bolter. We have the Zealot, who is going to be a Plague Marine Fighter with the Flail of Corruption. We then have a Demolitions Expert, who is a Plague Marine Gunner with a Blight Launcher. We have a second Plague Marine Fighter with the Mace of Corruption and the Bubonic Axe, who is going to be the Combat Specialist. We have 3 Poxwalkers, and we have another Plague Marine Gunner with a Blight Launcher. Alright, so going over to deployment here, I've got my Combat Specialist back over here. I've got my regular gunner up on top here with the side cannon. I've got my leader over here, and I've got my demolitions expert around the corner over here, and then I've got my heavy specialist in in reserves. My opponent, his deployment here, has his combat specialist on this side, along with a poxwalker. He's got his leader up front here. We then have up here his demolitions expert, along with another poxwalker. We've got his zealot specialist in the back, and up on top here we've got his other gunner and another poxwalker. Nobody's in reserve for him. So, that is deployment. We will now roll initiative to see who will have initiative going into turn 1. I rolled a 9, my opponent rolled a 7, so we will come back to you after movement phase for the Grey Knights here on turn 1. Alright, so actually at the beginning of the battle round here, my opponent is going to use 2 CP on Grandfather's Blessing. Essentially it's the same thing as Beseech the Dark Gods. He'll roll a D6. On a result of a 1, he'll suffer D3 mortal wounds, but on a result of a 2+, he'll add 1 to hit and wound rolls for the model until the end of the battle. So it should be pretty good. So let's see, on a D6. And a 5, so he has successfully received Grandfather's Blessing. He'll be +1 to hit, +1 to wound. He's got that experimental weapon. Hoo boy, that's going to be pretty brutal. All right, so movement phase. My dude up here readied himself. My demolitions expert moved around the corner over there, and then my leader advanced over here. And now my combat specialist, being either bold or stupid, we'll find out, is going to charge right into the thick of things over here into his leader. So it's going to be a 10-inch charge, but he has Overwatch here. So within double tap range, so looking for 6s. Getting no 6s on that one. So my charge distance, looking for a 10-inch charge. Oh, I do not make it. I'm going to spend a CP to re-roll that because I really want this to work. And I get it with the 10! Woo! All right, movement phase here for the Death Guard on turn 1. His demolitions expert and the poxwalker over here both advanced, as did this poxwalker over here. This guy jumped down and advanced around this direction over here towards my leader. His zealot just moved, or no, advanced as well over this way behind the barrel over here. And over here, we will now have some charges. So we're going to start with the poxwalker first. He needs a 3-inch charge to get in. No Overwatch because I'm engaged already. Woo! He's really in. And now his combat specialist is going to charge into my combat specialist. He's got looking for a 4-inch charge to get in. Oh, and he is in. All right, and then at the end of the movement phase, I spend 1 CP for Deep Strike, Teleport Strike, which allowed me to strike my Terminator over here, 5 inches from his guys over there, right down there. So that should be pretty good. So that's the end of the movement phase. Into the psychic phase. We're going to start with my guy over here. He's going to sidebolt into his combat specialist over here, looking for a 4 because they get +1 to this. That's going to go off on a 6. Can you deny or disgustingly resilient? So that's going to be the 1 mortal wound onto him there. Disgustingly resilient. No, on a 2 it goes through. How many wounds does your combat guy have? Just as a 1. So now we have the out of action. Yes, injury roll. That's the word. Haha! It's almost like I've said it 1,000 times and can't remember it. With a 5, ooh, he is out of action. And then my leader is going to into his little poxwalker up there. That will also go off. Disgustingly resilient. He is good to go. All right, so now my dude bro up here who readied himself is going to fire his side cannon into his zealot specialist down there. I've got 4 shots because it's heavy 4. He did not move, so he is obscured though, so hitting on 4s. Getting 1 hit. Strength 7, so looking for a 3 to wound. That is a wound, AP -1, so 4 up armor save. Ooh, he's good. All right, so then into the rest of the shooting phase here. We start with my heavy specialist with his special side cannon with 7 shots. Over here onto these guys, I'm going to put 5 into the guy down there and 2 into the guy into his poxwalker up here. So we'll start with the ones into the poxwalker. So that's going to be 2 shots. These are going to be hitting on 3s because he's not obscure and within half range. And I'm a heavy specialist, so I ignore moving with a heavy weapon. Oh, got me worried there. I saw a lot of green. So that's going to be 1 hit. Strength 4, toughness 3, so looking for 3 to wound. That is a wound. Just the disgusting resilient. Oh, it's a D3 damage on this one. So 1 damage, disgustingly resilient. No, it's going to go through. So here we go. Is he out of action? Injury roll. No, takes a flesh wound. All right, so now the 5 shots down into his demolitions expert. So it's going to be 5 shots hitting on 4s because he is obscured. Oh, there's a lot of 2s that scared me real bad. That's 2 hits, strength 4, toughness 5, so looking for 5s to wound. That's going to be 1 wound, AP nothing, so he's got a 3-up armor save. And he's good. All right, so now his demolitions expert is going to fire his because they are Death Guard, they ignore the penalty for advancing and shooting assault weapons. So they advance, but they can shoot their assault weapons because he's got the plague plague launcher. That's the word I was looking for. And my opponent was very nice to whisper it to me, so it didn't look like I was an idiot and forgot. So he's going to fire into him. He is obscured from where he's at, so he's going to be -1 to hit. So he's going to have 2 shots hitting on 4s. Getting 1 hit, but because he's demolitions expert and obscured, he's going to be +1 to wound, so wounding on 2s. That is a wound. AP -2, so looking for a 5-up save. No, do not make that one. So it's going to be D3 damage with 2 damage. That's enough to take him down. So 2 injury rolls. With that 5, he is out of action.
These are going to be...
All right, so now he is going to do the same thing into my leader over here, hitting on 4s, though, because he is obscured. Getting 1 hit. That's going to be wounding on... Oh, he's not demolition, so wounding on 3s. That is enough. Looking for a 5-up save. No, do not make it. D3 damage. That's going to be 3 damage, 3 injury rolls. That is -1, so he is going to be fine because he's obscured and within an inch of it. Whoo, flesh wound. All right, so now my combat specialist is going to start us out in the fight phase. He's going to attack into his leader over there. So I'm going to have 2 attacks. These are going to be hitting on 3s. Getting 1 hit. Strength +1 because of the force halberd, so strength 5, toughness 5, looking for a 4 to wound. No. All right, so he's got the grandfather's blessing. He's also got the experimental weapon that he's going to be hitting me with here with his bale sword, so he's going to be hitting on 2s with 3 attacks. That is all but 1 hit there. So we're going to have 2 hits, strength. It's going to be wounding on 2s because it's strength 5 because of the special weapon, +1 to wound, so wounding on 2s. That is 2 wounds, AP -3. So I've got 2 6-up saves. Showing them, Phil Facers! Getting, only 1. So it's 1 damage, but that's enough to take him out. So let's see on the injury roll. On a 4, he is out of action. And because he killed him with the experimental weapon, he gets 1 point for that. All right, so at the end of turn 1 here, we do have morale that we have to work on. I have to worry about breaking. I lost 2 guys in that first round, which was pretty crazy because I've got 2 guys out and he's got a flesh wound, which means that 3 out of my 5 have flesh wounds and or are out of action. So the leadership here with my Justicar is an 8. And I am good to go for that. He cannot fail his leadership because I've got the 2 guys out and only that. So, and my opponent only has the 1 Poxwalker here who does have to take a leadership test. Do you have anyone out of action?
I got 1 guy.
1 guy out of action. So here we go.
On a 6.
On a 6. No, 3. He is good to go with a 4. Right? Your leadership is like what? Enough that he should be fine for that. We'll figure it out later. But anyway, so that's going to be the end of turn 1 here. So we will now roll off to see who will have initiative going into turn 2. With an 11, I will take initiative, so we will come back to you after movement phase for the Grey Knights. Whew, their leadership 4, that was just enough to make him good to go. All right, movement phase for the Grey Knights here. Both my heavy and this dude bro readied themselves. My leader is now going to charge into his dude bro back over there, who is going to fire Overwatch. So here he goes, hitting on 6s. No hits there, so I need a 4-inch charge to make it in. And I'm in. All right, movement phase so far. This guy down over here advanced up on top over here. And now we are going to get into everybody else charging on in. So where do you want to start? All right, so his leader here is going to charge into my heavy specialist. I am going to fire Overwatch. So we've got the first 6 shots that are going to be coming in here. These are going to be looking for 6s. I got 1 hit. But he's also going to be dead unless I spend a command point to reroll it. I'm going to spend a command point to reroll that. Actually, let me find out if I need to, because I need a 5th, 6th, 7th shot. Okay, I'm going to spend a CP to reroll that because I do not feel like killing him in Overwatch. Oh, you what? Oh, you what? All right, so I managed to kill myself. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. All right, it's actually, it does a mortal wound. He's got the 2 wounds, so oof. All right, I feel better that he didn't die. So I did get 1 hit though. So this is going to be strength 4, toughness 5, so looking for 5s to wound. That is a wound with a fill face. He's got 0 AP though, so he's got a 2-up armor save. Oh, just manages it. So he now needs a 6-inch charge, was it? 6-inch charge to get in. Not gonna make it with a double 1. You gotta spend a CP to re-roll that. We got a lot of CPs going on here. And he makes it with that 7 inches. All right, this guy over here is gonna jump down and charge over here. He needs a 3-inch charge. He's in. All right, this guy's gonna charge on my leader as well. 8-inch charge to get in. Does not make it. This guy needs a 5-inch charge to get into my guy up here. I cannot see him, so his charge distance is way in. And now this guy is going to try to charge up in here. 5 inches will not get him in. All right, so that's it for the movement phase. Into the psychic phase, he's going to start us off by using Psybolt over here. That will go off, so now he has a disgustingly resilient save. Does not make it, so let's see if he is out of action. Oh, he's already got a flesh wound, right? So it's +1 to this roll. And he is out. And now my leader is going to Psybolt into his Blight Launcher dude bro over there. That will go off with a 10. Wait, 1 second. All right, so the Grey Knight's chapter tactic is that they get +1 to the results. So that 10 became an 11, which makes it D3 mortal wounds. 3 mortal wounds, so he's got 3 disgustingly resilience. Does not make any of them. So now I've got the 1 injury test onto him. No, he'll take a flesh wound. I'm going to spend a CP to reroll that. Oh yeah, he's out. All right, so now my dude bro over here is going to start us off in the shooting phase since I managed to Psybolt his little dude bro that was tying him up over here. He's going to fire into his, he can see the Zealot Specialist just the other side over here. So he's going to have 4 shots. He's within 12 inches, so he's within half range, but he is obscured, so I'm going to be hitting on 4s. Getting 3 hits, which is pretty good. Strength 7, so again, wounding on 3s. Okay, getting 1. AP -1. 4-up save. No, he misses that one, so that's going to be D3 damage. Going to be 2 damage. 5 ups. Gets one of them, fails one of them. So is he out of action? On a no 4. He's obscured and within an inch of that, so he will take a flesh wound.
Yes.
All right, so that's it for the shooting phase because this guy over here can't see anybody that's not engaged in combat. So we're going to start with my charger over there. He's going to attack into his little Poxwalker over there. So he's going to have 2 attacks because he's a Justicar. That's 2 hits. A wounding on a 3. That's going to be 2 wounds. AP minus doesn't make a difference. Oh, these are D3 damage. So 1 damage, that's going to be enough to take him down. So that's the only one to get to do. So 5 up. Oh, he makes it. So the second one then is D3 as well. Again a 1, so 5 up. No, it's going to go through. So let's see if he is out of action. Oh, he is. All right, so then his charger gets to go over here. He's got 3 attacks, hitting on 2 because of Grandfather's Blessing. That is going to be 3 hits. These are going to be wounding on 2s because of Grandfather's Blessing and experimental weapons. 6s are AP -4. So 1 AP -4 and 2 that are AP -3. I think all of them are going to go to my invul save anyway. 5-up invul save on those. So we're going to do 3 invul saves. I make 1 of them. So he is going to be out. These are 1 damage apiece, right? So he's got an injury roll to take now. On a 3, he will take a flesh wound. Do you want to spend a CP to reroll it? Yep, he's going to spend a CP to reroll that. Oh, and he still takes the flesh wound. And now my Terminator's going to attack back with his 4 swords. So I got 2 attacks, hitting on 3s because he's got transhuman physiology, ignoring that first flesh wound. Getting 1 hit. Strength 4 to toughness 5, so 5s to wound. No wound. All right, so that's the end of the turn there. We both have to take break tests now, so I'll do mine first. On a 4, I'm good to go. And on yours, do you want to roll to see if we even have to worry about it? It might be close. Yeah, so here he goes. On a 7, he'll be good to go over here. So those break tests are done. We now have to take some... oh, no, I don't have to. Oh, no. This guy can go. My leader is going to be leadership 8, so he'll be fine. But he's leadership 7. And on a 2, he's fine because I had 2 guys out. My opponent has 1 guy over here with a flesh wound. On a 1, he's going to be perfectly fine over there as well. So that's the end of turn 2. We are now going to roll off to see who has initiative going into turn 3. That is going to be a 5 to a 5. All right, so we re-rolled. I got a 7. My opponent gets a 10. So we'll come back to you after movement phase for the death card. All right, movement phase. This guy is going to stay up here looking on him. He's got, both of them are obscured over here. Now, his guy over here is going to charge into me over there. So I've got Overwatch with my Stormbolter. Getting 1 hit. Getting a wound. But he makes the save, so his charge distance, needing like 3 inches. He's way in. And then the Poxwalker is also going to charge into my dude bro over here. With a 7-inch charge, he'll be in. All right, moving phase for the Grey Knights is super easy. He's going to ready himself, and that's going to be it. So we'll come back to you with the Psychic phase. All right, so now my Terminator here is going to start us off in the Psychic phase by psyching into his Poxwalker. That is going to go off with D3 mortal wounds, giving 2 mortal wounds. Makes 1, fails 1. And with a 4, he is out of action. And then my Justicar is going to do it to that guy over there. With a 4 is just enough to do it, so that's going to be 1 mortal wound. So now you have a 5 up, Disgustingly Resilient. Ooh, not enough. Let's see if he is out of action. No, takes a flesh wound. He already had a flesh wound, so that's +1, so he is out of action. All right, so now into the shooting phase. My dude bro here is going to fire into his dude bro. 4 shots, hitting on, he is obscured, so hitting on 4s. Getting 1 hit. Strength 7, so 3s to wound. No wound. I know, he's going to shoot me right back with his 2 shots, hitting on 4s. Getting 1 hit. Wounding on a 2 because of demolitions. That is a wound. AP -5. Oh, AP -2. Sorry, 5 up save. No, that's not going to be enough. Is he out of action? D3 damage. Oh, 2 damage, so 2 injury rolls. And he is out of action on both. All right, so into the fight phase. I spent 2 CP on Decisive Strike, as did my opponent. So here we go. This is an important one. I rolled a 5, so I will go first. All right, so I've got my 2 attacks. Oh boy, let's see if this happens. 2 attacks, hitting on 3s. No. Oh man, best use of 2 CP ever. All right, here goes his attacks back. 3 attacks here, hitting on 2s because of Grandfather's Blessing. That is all hits. These are now going to be wounding on 2s because of Grandfather's Blessing and experimental weapons. That is all wounds. So that is going to be 3 5-up invul saves. I made 1. So he is going to be down, removed down to 0 again. So injury roll +1 because he's got a flesh wound. Oh, and he is out of action. All right, so he is dead, and my opponent gets another point for removing a model with the experimental weapon. I lose I drop down, when he's removed there, I drop a token there. That now can be picked up by him. That's really far away, and there's going to be a lot of guys between them at this point. So that is going to be the end of the turn here. So now we will roll to see if we are broken. So I will roll first. On a 3, I am good to go, but I do have to take a nerve test on my leader over there because there's 4 guys out of action. 4 + 4 is 8. He is good to go. Now he has my opponent has to roll to see if he is broken. Ooh, on an 11 he will be. So they have to take leadership test now because nerve test because his side is broken. So he has, what does he have? 6 guys out. So 6 plus. Oh, yeah. Oh, because we both have none there. So 6 + 4. So he is going to be shaken. And then on to your demolitions, bro. +4 as well. He's also going to be shaken. Wow, things just got slightly interesting here. So we're going to see what happens here. We'll come back to you after movement phase. He can't move. So I'm going to come back after my leader moves. All right, movement phase. I just advanced over here, which means that I get to move into the psychic phase. So I will now try to side bolt into his dude bro over there. I get it with an 11. D3 mortal wounds. Whoa! Well, I'm going to spend a CP. No, you can't spend a CP for that. And of course he gets that. Oh, well done.
This is Death Guard.
All right, so that is going to be the end of the turn. That's the end of turn 4. So now we have to roll to see if it goes on to a turn 5. On a 4, it will. So now we roll to see who has initiative going into... oh, no, I guess you have your morale test you have to do here. So he's going to spend his 1 CP to make sure he auto-passes. And then he's going to have a roll up here on this dude, bro.
And a 1.
Oh, on a 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, he's only got a leadership 7, right? Yeah, so he is all still going to be shaken, but he's going to be fine. Oh, boy. Oh, let me see if I'm broken. Nope, on a 6, I am good to go. And he's got a flesh wound, though. Oh, no. I'm going to... They shall know no fear. Thank you. Oh, my opponent being very helpful. Reminded me on that one. On a 3, he is good to go, thankfully. All right, thank you, sir. So now we will roll to see who has initiative going into turn 5. My opponent has an 8. I've got a 10. That's pretty killer. So we will come back to you after movement phase for the Grey Knights. All right, so my movement phase, he moved up over here and grabbed the specialist weapon, which I put onto his halberd over here, which gives him plus, I got a 2, which gives him plus D3 strength on his weapon. Rolled a 1. So he has plus 1 strength, but because it's a halberd, means that it's going to be plus 2 strength, so he'll be at strength 6, so he will be wounding him on 3s when he inevitably charges me right now, which we'll may as well just move into right now because everybody knows it's coming. So movement phase for the plague dude bros here. I do get 1 hit with the Stormbolter. That does do a wound. 2 up armor save. Oh, he's good to go on that. So now his charge distance is way in. All right, so into the psychic phase now we go. That will be 1 mortal wound, 5 up disgustingly resilient. And he's good to go. He is so resilient. All right, so we're gonna go into the fight phase now. I'm gonna spend 2 CP for decisive strike over here. My opponent's not because he wants to keep it for morale purposes, which is, I mean, fair enough. So here we go with my two attacks over here with my Justicar hitting on 3s. That is gonna be 1 hit. Wounding on 3s now because of strength +1 and +1 because of experimental weapons. I'm going to spend a CP to reroll that. And now he's going to smack me back with his Bale Sword over here. 3 attacks hitting on 2s because of Grandfather's Blessing. Got Death to the False Emperor over there with that 6. That's go. Wait, you have to take a flesh wound because of that 1. So he takes a flesh wound because of that 1, disgustingly resilient. He's good. Of course he is. So he's fine with that. So he gets 3 hits though out of that. These are now going to be wounding on 2s. That is going to be reroll 1s because of plague weapon. Oh, those are brilliant. All right, so that is going to be 3 wounds over here. AP -3. So we've got 6 up saves. Making none of them. So they're going to be 1 damage apiece. That 1 damage will take him back down. +1 to this because he's already got a flesh wound. And on that becomes a 4. He is dead and out of action. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have a Death Guard victory. 3 victory points he scored because he killed 3 people with that sword. I got 0 because I killed nothing with nothing. I killed a whole bunch of guys, but with other things other than my experimental weapons. So a heck of a good time. That was so much fun. I really liked that one a lot. It was awesome because the thing was, it was like I knew he had the experimental weapon. I knew he was kind of slow and I could try to like kite him around, but I'm like, but I want to kill him. I really wanted to get there and like really get into him. And it shows by all of the bodies that I threw onto his sword. But yeah, that was a ton of fun. Ton of fun. Bodies everywhere. And at the end of the day, the Death Guard managed to collect the experimental weapons to use further the ways of the Dark Gods. So, I hope you guys have all enjoyed this. I certainly have. I have been Phil, the Glacial Geek, as always. My opponent's been Skylar. And until next time, have fun.